Jason, so you shared with me that you know ADP as the payroll organization, which most companies know us for that. But if you think about it, over the years, as businesses and your business has grown and evolved, ADP has had to do the same to basically keep up with the evolution of businesses. So we started off with standard businesses, and then we've grown into where we can literally bring on extension of our HR infrastructure to support your organization as well, and taking it one step beyond that and really into a shared liability or co-partnership with the breadth of services of a leasing organization, and that's really where our total source partnerships comes into play with that. So, you know, the reason the ADP kind of got into the business behind your business is really so you cannot worry about all the changes in the regulations and the Affordable Care Act. You can really focus on driving revenue for your business, which is the whole reason that you got into business into the first place. And speaking of the Affordable Care Act, this is, you know, the largest change, you know, the regulatory changes happen, if you think, since Medicare, Medicaid. So organizations are trying to scramble to figure out a way to not only effectively manage the Affordable Care Act, but then how they're going to communicate with their employees, do the reporting. And these are all areas that ADP can assist you with as an organization. So when you think about employee communication, if you can help, you know, drive employee communication through a portal to where you can protect yourself, and be able to effectively report that, yes, you've communicated certain regulations. Not only how to manage that, ADP, along with our HR infrastructure, we can really become your benefits administrator and help out in that aspect as well. So the neat thing about partnering with an organization like ADP, especially when it comes to these regulatory changes like the Affordable Care Act, is we have over 1,400 dedicated professionals solely working towards keeping up with the Affordable Care Act and making changes to our system, making legal guidance, sending out regulatory alerts when it comes to that. This is just being very proactive to our clients, hosting webinars and seminars, keeping on the cutting edge of what's occurring. So we are in step with the IRS, hoping that our clients are in step with us as well, and ensuring our systems, services are up to date with being able to support this huge life-altering change for an organization. So now I'm going to go into stepping into the demonstration and how streamlining a lot of the information that you have today is really going to affect your organization and people. So let's talk about Betty. I know that you have Betty that's currently on maternity leave right now. So when she's on maternity leave, she's going to have to enroll her little new, I think his name is Johnny, into benefits. So what Betty has to do is she'll simply log onto the portal. She is going to go to Myself, then she's going to go to the My Benefits portion. She's going to click Enroll New Hire in Benefits. And then once she clicks into that, there's going to give her a list of the current benefit plans that you have set up within the system. Once she sets them up and acknowledges them, she streamlines that. All the while, probably Johnny's screaming in the background. And then she's going to hit Submit. So once you hit Submit, that's going to automatically communicate back to your benefits administrator that Betty is now enrolled. It's going to also hit payroll. That's going to feed then to the carriers. So if you think about it, this is a huge tremendous impact to Betty as an employee sitting at home with her new son, Johnny. And instead of having to manage paper and trying to do all that, which is what you have to do today, she gets to spend literally 5 minutes looking at the benefit plans, how that affects her, enroll in benefits, and then she's done. And she can get back to her child. So think about the impact that that's going to make to her. Being at home as a new mother, it's tremendous. And then she doesn't have to worry about benefits anymore for him because that's taken care of. So then going on to Betty's manager, something that he is constantly going to have to do is look for PTO requests. So if you go into the message center, that's where all the messages are going to be communicated to the managers. He's going to have notification that it looks like Anthony here has requested time off. He's going to click on the arrow that will then show Henry that Anthony has, it looks like 32 hours of leave already. So he can take those 8 hours. Henry can then go ahead and check the schedule to make sure that he has proper coverage on the schedule. And it looks like nobody else has requested the day after Thanksgiving off. So Anthony should be great to take that day off. He hits thank you, Anthony. It's approved. Have a great, wonderful time. Hit submit. Once he hits submit, Then Anthony then gets a notification saying, yes, your time is approved. The notification then hits payroll, so then nobody has to touch it. And Henry can get back on to managing his team, and Anthony can be happy that he's got his day after Thanksgiving approved. So all that communication is completely streamlined. Henry's not having to manage paper any longer. Payroll is not having to manage paper, and HR knows what's going on. So it really affects that whole life cycle within the organization on an employee. It streamlines everything. Most importantly, getting people back to their jobs as quickly as possible, and not having to be caught up in the minutia of dealing with paperwork and time off requests. So then we're going to go over to Angie's payroll, actually selecting a new hire. So if we go into processes, she found an excellent candidate. She's actually going to hire Jack. So when she goes into create a new hire, she can simply select a template. It looks like she's going to hire him into payroll only. She clicks start a new hire. Once she gets into here, she can see that all that information that he pre-populated in the applicant tracking side is just going to flow right into payroll. So what that does is it prevents her from having to re-enter all that information in, which is very nice, so she's not having to data enter the same information. So she goes through it, she enters in all that information, types in his employment information, supervisor information, what his position is, who he's going to report to, then drops down and enters into all of his pay information. Is he part-time? Is he full-time? What's he making? This next aspect is pretty neat because today I know when a new hire comes on board, you have to notify your payroll department, you have to notify your IT department to get them set up with access, and then also get them set up with badges. So you can have predetermined user groups set up in here to where once you decide to hire this person, you can assign a checklist. Click assign a checklist, and then once you assign them a checklist, email notifications will automatically go out letting all the groups know that a new hire has been hired, and then they can then be assigned a certain categories in that checklist, whether they have to get them a new badge, get them assignment or access into the building, get them set up with a laptop so they can check that off, and you as the administrator have visibility to that at all times. So then you click done and your new hire is hired. Do you think that's pretty easy? Perfect. Okay, now let's go into the reporting side. So if I'm an executive and I want to look at what my overtime is looking at, today it looks like you, from what you told me, you're approaching about $200,000 in overtime a year. So if you look at that as an organization, they say by automating that time and labor system, you can cut that down by at least 50%. But even let's be conservative. You cut down your overtime by 25%. Think of what you could do with that additional $50,000. I know that you're looking to expand into a few different markets and potentially open up another facility. So having $50,000 just in your first year, not to mention what it can do over the next few years, and putting that towards your new facility would be huge. So if you run, a better way to manage that, so we have an approaching overtime report. If you hit run, this is going to let you set up parameters on James is approaching overtime. If you want your managers to get notifications maybe at 37.5 hours, letting them know that, okay, James is approaching 37.5 hours. I understand a shift opened up, so maybe you don't want James because then he's going to go into overtime. Let's get Bill to fill that shift. So it really gives you the visibility into your workforce today as opposed to being reactive. You can be very proactive with it. Not to mention the requirements that are going to come with the Affordable Care Act. I know that your part-time employees, you really want to keep them below that 30-hour mark so you don't have to then go into giving them benefits. So you can set up an approaching overtime for those employees at, let's say, 27 hours, even 25 hours if you want to be a little bit more conservative. And let your managers know that when those employees are approaching those type of overtime, you can even get it scheduled to run. That way they get notifications saying to go in and check that report to make sure nobody is going over that and you don't have any additional liability there when it comes to those part-time employees in regards to the healthcare reform. But I think that about does it for the system. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any additional questions.